Hi, my name is Shawn Page. This is for the Interpersonal Communications Project for my class, Liberty University, Human Services 508 slide. I'm going to run down a brief outline of this. It's an introduction, identification of the overarching goal in my life, define enlarging my conversation, define interpersonal communication, my personality blend, communication barriers, how to overcome them, overcoming noise pollution, putting God's unique created work into action. So, an introduction to myself. I want to start off by saying my name is Shawn Page. I'm a father of two, husband, student, and a day treatment counselor at a high school. My life verse I want to include is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you hope and future. I find joy in this verse due to my life's progress, and over time I can relax in Jesus and give him all praise for my life. So I want to start by stating the overarching goal in my life, and it is to help those in need and they are broken and suffering. For those, I want the Holy Spirit to guide my way. And of course, I want to be the best husband, father, and friend, and professional at my occupation by making much of Jesus and less of me. So how do I do this? I find better ways to enlarge my conversation with others and using better listening skills, communication, dialoguing properly, and nexting proficiently, as Stewart says in his book. And also looking and caring for people the same way the Lord does and placing his value on their life. And I want the Lord to use him to do the best of his abilities with being compassionate for people. Slide. Interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication is a subset. It is defined as the type of communication. It happens when the people involved in talk and listen in ways that maximize the presence of the person. Impersonal communication is another subset of communication, but it is much different. Impersonal communication is characterized by the communication that is based in exchanges and minimize the presence of the communication's personal identities, as Stewart says in his book. So, some of the different ways of interpersonal and impersonal. Um, Interpersonal would be family gathering, between friends, on the telephone, at parties, and business meetings. Impersonal would be talking to a bank teller, a receptionist, bus driver, and buyer, seller roles, server, diner roles. Slide. I want to go all the way back to Adam and Eve. Interpersonal communication is one of the fabrics of creation. We we are designed by God for fellowship with Him and other people. The desire for the relationship is the basis of a component of our human nature. Tim Clinton says in his book, humans were originally designed for the purpose of having communication with God and being caretakers of His world. Slide. Dr. Carbonhall says in his book, says that all of us have diverse personality types and personal behavior blends that influence how we naturally interact with others. He used the DISC model in his book. I have personality type that blend with the SC, this is expected of me, and SC is this is me. So, the personality blend that I have, some of the most agreeable will be I do small group things well with individuals, trustworthy with individual and friends and employee, not confrontational, passive and laid back. Weaknesses that I have is I let individuals take take my kindness for weakness. I research too much and when being decisive, lack of aggressiveness, and I turn melancholy and fret over unimportant things, as Carbonell says in his book. Carbonell says in his book. So, positive and negative influences with my background and behavior blend will be being loyal and a trustworthy friend, and a negative one will be sometimes I act like a maniac, as Carbonell says in his book, When You Mess with My Family. So, effective listening. Effective listening involves not only tuning in to others, by tuning into ourselves, as Burley Allen says in her book. Well, Lindsay Jones says in her article for Education and Training, she must agree. Effective listeners involve hearing, listening, and understanding. Listeners act both out of self-interest and interest of other people, as Peterson says in his book. All of them intertwine between each other, and all of them are in agreement. Slide. There's a two-step process to listening: inhaling and exhaling. Stewart says that inhaling combines interpretive processes of perception and listening. Perception covers a significant portion of topics. Selecting, organizing, inferring, and process happens at the same time. It is like the breathing in of another person in the conversation. So, exhaling, Stewart says, is including but open to others, self-expression, self-disclosure, and assertiveness of communications with another. It is the breathing out of ourselves to another person. Slide. There's 3 levels of listening. Burley Allen says in her book, there's a level 1, that's more of an empathetic listening, where we should be at when we talk with almost anybody we talk to. Level 2, hearing words but not really listening. And level 3, listening in spurts, tuning out and in. Sometimes I do this in the gym when somebody wants to keep talking to me. Slide. Listening barriers, Burley Allen wants to identify a few. Hearing what we want to hear, biased listening, wanting to have power in the conversation, emotional reasoning, physical need, physical barriers, external distractions. We're going to talk about them in the next slide. Noise pollution is what is characterized as Burley Allen says. It's external and it's internal. Some of the external is traffic going on when you're trying to talk and you're listening to somebody. Conversations going on around you, music playing in the background, maybe too loud, or monotone speaker, and not talking loud enough for a listener. Internal, some of them will be maybe being a little bit too fatigued before you enter a conversation. Daydreaming, biased listening. Slide. A solution for overcoming these barriers would be to listen more empathetic at a level 1 when listening. Using Peterson's talk listener card correctly and not getting so flat-brained. Just say no when you have too much to do or too much on your plate. Not take in on all that which you can handle. So, a plan in action in my life that I want to implement is not to be flat-brained and be open to dialogue. I want to engage in conversations. I want to be uniquely me, fulfill the overarching goal for my life with my background, personality, and my behavior blend. Planning to enlarge my conversation so I can be the more effective communicator as a husband, father, counselor, and man that wants to walk in the ways of Christ to help others. Slide. In conclusion, I would like to reiterate that I want to put God's creation to work in the lives of others around me. And to be a father, I need to listen better, communicate better, and to be an effective listener. I need to do this in all the roles of my life. I need to do this as a counselor, my professional way, my professional job, and I would like to do this as a mentor. I need to be a better listener in all that I do. And thank you for your time. This is the conclusion of my project. Slide.